Hey guys, what's going on? For those of you who are new to our channel, my name is Lisa and we welcome you. And for those who are coming back, we welcome you back. So I am headed out to my garden this morning and there's a couple things ready for harvest. And I'm particularly excited about harvesting one thing, and we're gonna make something absolutely delicious with it today. So I've got my basket and I've got my scissors and I'm headed to the garden. Chester baby, as sweet and cute as you are, you may not come into the garden. I'm sorry. Got a beautiful tomato that is ready. This is a Fantastico tomato. And then we've got some tomatoes ready over here too, and we're gonna call these, I forgot what I planted here, but I'm just gonna pick them because they're red and ripe and look delicious. Let's see. It's a cherry tomato of some sort. If anybody knows what that is, I'll give you a close-up of the leaves. But the main thing that we are out here to harvest are these beautiful squash blossoms, and we are going to make some stuffed squash blossoms in the air fryer. So I've got several here. Some are from pumpkins. Oh, look at that. We've got some bees actively pollinating that one for us. When you're harvesting squash blossoms, what you want to look for are your male squash blossoms. Those are going, hi Smokey. I've got my friend here, just showed up. So you want to harvest the male squash blossoms. Those are going to be the flowers that are going to appear first. And you can tell the males from the females because the male squash blossoms have an anther and the female squash blossoms have what's called a stigma. And you want to leave the female squash blossoms alone because those are going to turn into your fruit, your zucchini, your yellow squash, your pumpkins. So when you are harvesting squash blossoms, you want to look for the blossoms with that anther. And so I am going to show you those right now. Okay, so here is a male squash blossom and you see the protrusion sticking out of the middle of it. That is the anther. So I know that this is a male squash blossom and I can harvest it because it is not going to turn into fruit. I am just going to take this and I'm just gonna snip it. And there we go. That's how you harvest a squash blossom. Here's another male. See that anther? So the super cool thing about squash blossom, when you're getting anxious to harvest vegetables, your tomatoes aren't ready yet, and your peppers aren't ready yet, and you see these squash blossoms, this is something that you can harvest before you've got fruit ready, and you can have a nice little farm to table snack or side. Look how pretty! So now we get to get these inside, get them cleaned up, and make our stuffed squash blossoms. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is I want to wash these squash blossoms off just a little bit, but they're really delicate. So I'm just going to turn my water on like this so I don't rip anything. And I'm just going to very gently work some of the dirt off and just get it inside the flour, just really gently, because like I said, they're very delicate. And I don't want to rip them because I want to be able to stuff the cheese inside. See, that's all it needs. So now I've got the squash blossoms nice and rinsed off, and we are just going to let them dry right here for a couple minutes, and I'm going to head out to the cocktail garden and pick some fresh herbs. So I'm out here at my cocktail garden and we're going to grab some fresh chives, parsley, and basil for our stuffed squash blossoms. So we'll get some chives. My parsley really liked this rain. Fresh parsley and some basil. Now that I've got my fresh herbs cut up and set aside, I'm going to get my flowers and my egg wash ready so I can dredge my blossoms in there. I've only got 4 of them, but I want to make this 2 different ways because I've got lots of dear friends who are gluten-free, so I want them to be able to do this as well. So because I follow a Mediterranean diet, I am going to use whole wheat flour. And then I'm also going to make a batch of these, or in this case, 2 of them, with tapioca flour. And so tapioca flour is a great thing to use as a breading if you are gluten-free. I'm gonna do 2 separate bowls for my flours, but I'm gonna use the same egg wash. And before you come at me for cross-contamination, I'm the only one eating these, so they don't have to be gluten-free for me. I'm just showing how to make a gluten-free version of this. So I'm just taking flour. I don't really have precise measurements for this. When I put this recipe up on my blog, I will, but for now, I'm just kind of throwing it together. So I've got my whole grain flour there, and I'm gonna open up my tapioca flour. This is also how I make, when I make Brazilian cheese rolls, I make it with this. They're so good. And I'm just going to, I'm probably using more than I need for this like super small amount, but I'd rather have more than less. So, got my 2 flours. I want to season these really well. So, I'm gonna do some pink Himalayan salt, gonna add in some pepper, garlic powder, and then just give that a good mix. Then I've got my 2 farm fresh eggs here. And I actually just want the whites because the egg whites are gonna give it that really beautiful golden color that we're looking for. So just the egg whites in a bowl, 2 egg whites. Okay, so now we are going to make our filling. So this is some of that ricotta cheese that I made in my Instant Pot. And I'm gonna put some of that in this bowl. And add some shredded mozzarella, just a nice big handful of it. Put that in the bowl. And then I'm gonna add those beautiful fresh herbs that we gathered from the cocktail garden. So I'm gonna put those right in there. I wanna make sure I get all that herby goodness in there. Oh, it smells so good and fresh already. I feel like adding a little kick, so I'm gonna use some of this chili Himalayan salt. I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil in here too. Nice little glug. So this is what our filling looks like. We've got the mozzarella cheese, the ricotta, the fresh herbs, garlic, salt, pepper. It's going to be amazing. Oh, and then I added the olive oil in there. Okay, so now I'm going to just very carefully peel these petals back, and I'm going to take out that stamen. You gotta be really careful not to rip it. See, I'm just gonna pinch it with my fingers and take it out. It's a little bit of a rough piece that you don't wanna eat. You might, I mean, it's edible, but it might not be the best on your palate. So take that out. I'm gonna do that with all of them. You don't really even have to be able to see inside there. You can just kind of reach in there and feel for it and get it out. All right, so those are out. And so now here's what you have to work with. There's the inside of the flour. And so we're just going to simply put our filling inside. Now, some people use a piping bag for this. I don't find that necessary. I've got my little grapefruit spoons, so I'm just gonna use those. But you just wanna take your filling. I kind of do this so it gets kind of like it'll shape to go in there. And then I'm just gonna very carefully put it inside the flour, like that. Press it down in the center a bit. Then I'm gonna wrap these leaves around it and kind of twist them so that it keeps the filling inside. Oh, these are gonna be so good. I just can't even wait. I haven't had these since I made them last year when I had zucchini flowers. Oops, see, I ripped it. It's not gonna be perfect, but you just wanna try as much as you possibly can to get it so the petal covers the filling. It's kind of like, almost if you've ever worked with phyllo dough, it's very delicate like that, but like once you get used to it, you kind of figure out how to work with it. I feel like these are kind of the same thing. Some people take these stems off. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna leave them on because I think it's just kind of easier to work with. All right, so there are our squash blossoms. They are stuffed with our filling and they are ready to go into the egg wash and then into our flour mixture and then into the air fryer. And I'm just gonna gently put it in the egg wash. And then I'm gonna take it from there and I'm gonna put it in one of my flour mixtures. So this one is the tapioca flour. And I'm just gonna dredge it as much as I can. I'm trying not to get my hands in it too much. It's pretty good. Then I'm just gonna take it back over here, set it back down on my plate. So I'm gonna do this second little one, also in the tapioca flour. And you just wanna coat it as best you can. I'm gonna set that on the plate. Then I'm gonna take these other two and I'm gonna put them into the whole wheat flour. That one coated really well. And same with this one. Okay, so now I've got my air fryer basket and I'm gonna spray the heck out of it with olive oil. Do not stick. All right, so now we are going to take our zucchini blossoms and put them on the air fryer basket. Okay, so I sprayed a little bit more olive oil on the tops of these and I am going to set my air fryer at about 380 and I'm gonna check them after 10 minutes and see if they need more time. There's a little sneak peek. They are looking fantastic. I'm so excited. Okay, so this is after 10 minutes. And I'm gonna put them in just a few minutes longer, but they look and smell fantastic. All right, now that's what I'm talking about. They are beautifully golden brown. A little of that cheese oozed out, but that is okay by me. And here is what they look like finished. They look absolutely delicious. You wanna serve them with a bit of marinara sauce. We will go over how to make a homemade marinara sauce in another video. So these are the tapioca ones, and these are the whole wheat flour ones. All right, so now for the taste test, I am going in. So this is the tapioca one. I'm gonna dip it in a little bit of my marinara here. Oh my gosh. You guys, this is so good. You have to make these. All right, now this is the one with the whole wheat flour. They're both really good and they don't taste that different actually. So if you're gluten-free, use the tapioca flour. And if you're following a Mediterranean diet like I am, use your whole wheat flour.